positive on. And it's funny because I was negative on this at first. And then I'm going to actually explain. There's some notes that I wrote here that I'll say because I wrote them before, like as I was watching it. So before what happened, and I'm talking about the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, Solo, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu returning. So before I knew Jacob Fatu was returning, I took down some notes, and funny enough, it's like the notes kind of like correlate to him coming back. But yeah, this storyline or this storyline of the night kind of started with Solo and Tama in the back cutting a promo. Obviously, the bloodline is pretty thin right now. I think there's injuries on I can't remember his name now. Loa Longa Leaky. I call him Camacho. Whenever I can't remember his name, just call him Camacho. Solo basically in the back with Tama, and he says the only thing interesting to really pull from that promo was that he says that if Roman beats him and takes the Ula Fala from him, then he will acknowledge him as his tribal chief. So I don't know. Are they setting up? Is he lying? Is that him? Sort of just gaslighting us in storyline. Of course, he's a heel. You can't really believe everything he'll say. Or is that saying that once this whole thing is over, they're going to create a fucking super bloodline? And I don't know how that works, but a super bloodline where everybody just gets together. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But they could be sowing the seeds for that one day Solo does finally kneel to Roman. Once he beats him, once this is all said and done, and Roman gets the Ula Fala back, that he'll finally... It's almost like he's been testing Roman in his own way. So, I don't know. Maybe that's where they're going with the story. But, yeah, while I was watching this, basically it's Solo kind of calling out Roman again. But while I was watching this, I was like at this point, up to this point, before Roman even came out, I was thinking the Bloodline's missing pretty much all their members, and Jacob Fatu getting injured really ruined this storyline. That's what I wrote down. I wrote an asterisk next to it because everything changed after this. But at this point, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wow, that really did fuck this storyline up. But yeah, Roman comes out, makes his entrance. Now, you gotta, if you didn't realize this when you watched it the first time, you gotta watch it again. But first off, let me say, I thought Roman's old music was much better. The original Head of the Table theme song was way better, but it's a slight change. However, Roman is, if there's a word for over being over, that's what Roman is right now. When Roman makes his entrance, fans are like, watch that entrance back again. The fans in the crowd are fucking mesmerized when he comes out. It's like Roman has become almost like this mythological kind of figure to the fans, and when he comes out, it's like, oh my god, everything stops. Roman is here, and you gotta give him credit, and mainly you gotta give Vince McMahon credit for being right all those years, even though he didn't know how to push Roman at first. And this is another thing Vince doesn't get credit enough for, is that he's the guy that gave the okay for Roman to go heel. It's one of his like last big kind of decisions. And Paul Heyman tells the story. A lot of people check me on this, but I saw Paul Heyman tell this story that he went to Vince with the idea, because him and Roman were kind of shooting the idea back and forth. This whole storyline you're seeing now, and them two getting together, and it took a while for Vince to finally okay it. And of course, you could give Vince his flack for not okaying it earlier. I agree with you. He should have. But he eventually did okay it, and did okay the teaming of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, and the okay to turn him heel. So that's my little Vince McMahon mark tangent there. So basically, Roman comes out and starts beating the fuck out of Solo and Tama. He's basically handling them. Now, here's another one of my notes with the asterisks. Roman is getting over on the Bloodline a little too much. I feel like he needs to show more weakness in this storyline, just because the story has to become that he's getting overwhelmed by the numbers. Now, that ties into my other note, my other asterisk note, that Jacob Fatu getting injured really fucked this up. And I was sitting there going like, man, this storyline is going to be like, what are we going to have to wait fucking 3 more months or something until Jacob gets healed up and Camacho's, got both of his eyes and he's not getting, injured every episode like OJ Simpson in The Naked Gun. It's like, I'm sitting there like, fuck, man, I really want to like enjoy this. And then it happened. Roman was beating the fuck out of... Now, here's the one part I'm going to say before I get to the really positive stuff, is I don't think Roman should have put on the Ulafala yet. He should have waited. They should have still held that moment off. And I said last week that there's going to be a moment where he gets a pop for putting the necklace on. And that happened this week. I thought they should have held off. He shouldn't have actually got it on. I know it's a stupid like little moment, but you got to understand that the Ulafala right now is being treated as like the symbolism of the head of the tribe, the head of the table. So to them, it's important. If you might, it's a prop, of course, it's a prop, but in storyline to them, that's important. That's worth fighting over. So, yeah, he should have had a moment. Like they should have saved that moment for when he actually won, I think. But yeah, then basically all my notes got fucking thrown in the garbage because Jacob Fatu makes his triumphant return. And I was sitting there like, like that shocked the fuck out of me because I wasn't expecting him to come back. And then for a second I was like, did he heal up already? Or like, did he like, was it not as bad as I thought? And then I saw he had the big moon boot on. But yeah, it kind of, even though my notes got thrown away, it kind of backed up my notes in the sense of, I think WWE realized Jacob Fatu getting injured really did fuck up the storyline, and it couldn't be corrected. There was no other way to correct this other than bring him back early. He's a fucking Samoan, and he's still a monster with the cast on. He's still fucking clomping around the ring and spearing motherfuckers, and like he's still a monster. He could still do it. So I think it was just they had to bring him back. They had no choice. And Solo, thank you, Coop. I was just about to say it. I'm not going to say he has to go, but Solo by himself is not doing it. He's not. I've been saying it for a while. He's missing something, and I just can't figure it out. But he's not taking the ball and running with it. And you see the real game changer is Jacob. Because without Jacob, Roman was basically handling Solo and Tama together. Like it almost was like the whole thing of I mean, obviously Roman Reigns is something different, but it got to the point where it's like, Jesus, these guys are looking weak. That's why I was like, they need to get some more offense on Roman. But yeah, he's not hacking it. But Jacob coming back, fucking amazing surprise. I thought it was really good. It caught me totally off guard. I actually stood up when he came back. I was that surprised. And we'll see how he fares without. I mean, he looked great without with the cast. So I don't know. Maybe maybe the break wasn't as bad, and he can he's been cleared to work on the cast at least for some spots, not full on matches, obviously, but he can do a couple spears. He can hoist Roman up on, Solo's shoulders. I guarantee you he's probably not going to do that table spot for a while. And I don't blame him. Like, I get it. He did it already. He almost has to do it one more time to prove that the first time wasn't a fluke. So he'll probably have to do it one more time. But I don't think he's a guy that needs to do that. It was cool. Do it very sparingly, but to do it at SummerSlam in that moment, I thought it was a little reckless. A little reckless. But yeah. I liked the ending of SmackDown. I like that the Bloodline starting to piece it back together. Finally got one over on Roman because the story needs to start getting pushed of Roman. He can't beat the fuck out of the Bloodline every week and handle them every week by himself, because then at what point does he need to go build his old Bloodline back again? Or at least some semblance of a group and put them back. He has to be outnumbered. He has to be overwhelmed by the numbers in order to further the storyline. Otherwise, they're just treading water.